I have been taking care of COVID cases since January, so I knew it was inevitable that I was going to get it, especially me being a molecular microbiology immunologist. I knew the risk of everything I was wearing, the amount of time from showing that if I'm around a COVID patient for 10 minutes, it's about the time it would take me to contract it. So things like that I knew in my head since January. So I was not worried about getting COVID. I just focused on my immune system, eating healthy, good night's sleep, avoiding stress, which is hard during this trying and stressful time. That's probably what made it worse for me getting COVID, wearing the proper personal protective equipment. I did everything I was supposed to. I wore my gloves. I wore my surgical mask when I was not around COVID patients. I wore my N95 mask. I wore my hair cover. I wore my face shield. And of course, last but not least, I wore my gown. I did all of that day in and day out. Working in the hospital, I still caught COVID. I caught COVID around end of May, early June. I can't tell you the exact day because the symptoms of COVID are so broad. There's no such thing as COVID symptoms. So I had nausea and dizziness for 2 weeks that progressed because I was losing weight. I lost a total of 15 pounds. I could not eat. I had no appetite, none. I had to force myself to drink water. I knew I was dehydrated. I was making less urine. My urine was dark. One day I was in the hospital working. Really bad dizziness. I almost passed out. I was walking down the hallway. I felt like the light was coming down and I had to catch myself from falling. And I knew something was wrong. No other symptoms besides that. I knew I was dehydrated. Something was wrong. I got worried. I couldn't figure out what it was. COVID went through my mind. I went to the emergency room. I just finished all my work. I told the ER doctor who I was and what was going on. He said, let's give you some IV fluids, check your labs, and test for COVID. I said, great plan. So I got the lab work done. I had acute kidney injury. My kidneys were shutting down because I was dehydrated, causing all the electrolyte imbalance and so forth. And actually, that's how kids die in other countries. Not from the cholera and rotavirus, but from losing all of that fluid and being dehydrated. And I was in the same situation. So I got 4 liters of IV fluids. The test came back positive, and by the time the results came back 2 hours later, I was already feeling better on my 3rd liter of fluid. I told the ER doctor, I feel great. Actually, I made 1 liter of urine while I was getting the IV fluids running. And I asked the ER doctor let me get a 4th unit of fluid. The ER doctor, if any other healthcare professional knows, was worried about pulmonary edema. So I was not worried about that. My body was circulating the fluid very fast. So I was not worried about pulmonary edema. Plus I had no signs of pulmonary edema anyway. So the ER doctor gave me, I got my 4th liter. I walked out, I felt better, and I self-quarantined, which I honestly didn't know how long because I had these symptoms for 2 weeks. So technically per the CDC, without me having a fever, shortness of breath, or cough for more than 72 hours, I did not have to self-quarantine. But I did it anyway to protect those around me. And during those 2 weeks, I was exposing everyone around me, my whole family, my mom, my siblings, everyone, loved ones, friends, going to hospital, colleagues. Nobody actually got sick, which is one thing that's it's a blessing in disguise with COVID. If you have a ton of people who test positive for COVID, only a handful are actually contagious. So thankfully, I was one of the people that was not contagious. I was not spreading COVID around. Even over a month later, no one around me developed symptoms. People who have COVID and are getting over it, they're having this fatigue or weakness. They just feel drained, and I had that. But for me, it was less noticeable because I work out a lot. And I didn't notice my fatigue until I tried to work out. I went and tried to run a mile. It took everything in me to run that 1 mile. Normally I run 3 miles. It took everything in my body to run that 1 mile. I go work out, I do martial arts. It took me forever. I was drained. But on the bright side, if I had to go through this to develop immunity, to protect the other 30% who are not able to be exposed or they have a high risk of dying in the hospital, I will go through what I went through over and over and over again, just to protect the person who does not have my immune system.